Well, hello friends. In this video, I will be continuing the discussion on quantum operations. As we started quantum operations by giving various kinds of descriptions of how a system can be made to interact with environment using the CPCT completely positive trace preserving maps, and then we had the Stein-Splin dilation, and then we had the system environment coupling. We had an axiomatic approach to quantum operations, and doing all those things, we have made a cross operator formulation, which is a very important formulation for understanding the quantum information, and it is useful in understanding quantum operations and quantum maps in a very beautiful way. So we will be moving on to understanding a few more quantum channels. So let's start. So we will be starting from the bit flip channel. So the bit flip channel, as the name suggests, it is a channel which, given a density matrix or a state or a wave function, discrete, that has a finite dimensional Hilbert space, it does a bit flip. So if you have 0 and 1, so 0 will go to 1 and 1 will go to 0. This is the bit flip operation. So obviously, if you have the X matrix, the Pauli sigma X matrix, which is of the form of 0 1 1 0, you can check that Pauli X matrix acting on 0 gives you 1, and acting on 1 gives you 0. So the Pauli sigma X matrix is the important candidate for the bit flip channel. So that's what I have written here. So the bit flip channel has the cross operators as identity, and the other one as the proportional to the bit flip, which is the Pauli sigma X matrix. I have written here X, Y, Z, and these are the sigma matrices. So, and they follow this algebra that I have shown here. This is without the commutator, with the commutation relation. This is not a commutation relation. There is no commutator. You can check that it satisfies such a relation. And further observe that we know that the cross operation formulation says that E of rho, precisely because of the Choi isomorphism, can be given as summation of I ei rho ei dagger, such that summation I ei dagger ei is 1. This is the identity map. So that means these are the cross operators, and the system that we are considering, if it is a two-dimensional Hilbert space, then we have this as the completeness relation. So this is the completeness relation here. So with this done, we have really shown that these are the cross operators. Now we will move to an explicit calculation. So the quantum operation is written in form of this. This is just the cross operator formalism, and hence now I will just substitute the E0 and E1 from here to here, and that brings us to this step here. So where you see the rho that is here, I have taken it in this form, which is the Bloch sphere representation. This was done in various very previous part of my playlist that is there. So this is the Bloch sphere representation of the density matrix rho, where R is the Bloch vector. So given that, I will just substitute the rho here and here, and now you see the X is a Pauli sigma X operator. X square is 1 because X is Hermitian as well as unitary, and that brings us to the second step. where you get the I by 2 and 1 minus p plus p is 1, and then you have the rest of the terms. Now, while evaluating the rest of the terms, it is necessary to use this commutation relation here. So this commutation relation where sigma x is just x, sigma y is just y, and sigma z is just z. Using that commutation relation, we come to the next line. And now finally you can write this entire state that you have obtained in terms of a Bloch vector. So where you see we started with a rho, the state that goes into the quantum channel. So rho is the state that goes into the quantum channel with the Bloch vector r hat, and the state that comes out of the quantum channel is a state with Bloch vector n hat. But n hat is not same as r hat. So you see the n hat operator, n hat Bloch vector, the first component is intact, it is same as r hat, but the other two have been squeezed. So what this means is that a pure state first of all can go to a mixed state. So it will introduce some sort of a noise. It will turn a pure matrix to a mixed matrix. And I have shown here, you see, in this is the Bloch sphere that you see here, the outer sphere. And what happens is that along x-axis the probability remains same. So the x remains intact, not the probability. The vector along x-axis is intact. But along the yz axis, you see that the entire sphere gets squeezed. So this second part, this second one is my new sphere, which has got squeezed along the yz axis, precisely because these terms are less than 1. So that's for the first part, which is the bit flip operator. So the intuition is that the bit flip operator changes the vectors along the yz direction, because the sigma x operator has the x direction vectors as its eigenvector. So then we come to a phase flip operation. So phase flip operation flips the phase factor. It associates a phase factor. So why is that so? The z has 0 as its eigenvector, so it is plus 0. But z on 1 is minus 1. And this is the phase that we are talking about. This minus can be written in terms of e power I pi. So that is the phase that we are talking about, and hence we have z operator as a phase flip. So again, what are the cross operators? So you see the E0 operator remains same, but the E1 gets a z here. For bit flip it was x, now we have a z for the phase flip. And now without any calculation, just by intuition above, you can say that, well, z has the eigenvectors in the z-axis direction in the Bloch sphere representation. So the z part must not be harmed and the other two part gets squeezed. So that is the precise fact that what happens is that in the phase flip the z part is unharmed and the x and y part gets squeezed. So look at this diagram here. The initial Bloch sphere was that the final sphere has squeezed in xy direction, leaving the z unharmed. Similarly, in the bit phase flip we have the y operator as the other cross operator representation, and then the final state is only preserved in ry direction. So when I am talking about the preservation, I am essentially saying that you have a state I by 2 plus r dot sigma by 2. This state is going to I by 2 plus n dot sigma by 2. So the only thing that is changing is the r hat and the n hat, the vectors, the Bloch vectors. So this is the characterization of the change in the Bloch vector, which is in 1-to-1 correspondence with the change in the entire state. So let's move on. In the third part now we have a very important operation. This is called the depolarizing channel. So the depolarizing channel, as the name suggests, it actually introduces a lot of noise. Based on the probability, it introduces a lot of noise in the system. So you have your initial state as rho, and with a probability 1 minus p, your initial state remains unharmed. But with a probability p, it gets to a maximally mixed state I by 2, where the I by 2 is the maximally mixed state and hence has the I will come to this fact, it has the maximum entropy and hence is a highly random state. So that is the depolarizing channel. So characterizing, let's see how to characterize the depolarizing channel using the cross operators. So you have your rho here, this is I by 2 r dot sigma. Now you can just rearrange this to come to this line. And now you see what is happening is that whenever you send an r hat vector, a state with a r hat Bloch vector, the entire state gets contracted in all direction. In all direction I have a 1 minus p multiplied. So the Bloch sphere essentially gets reduced. So whenever this straightly means that whenever you send a pure state, it will convert it to a mixed state essentially. So now let's move on. Now let us discuss about an important identity which will be useful to characterize the cross operator of this Bloch sphere. So this is the important identity that we need to prove. So let's see. So consider the quantum operation, which is just from the space of the bounded linear maps to the bounded linear maps, which is that E of rho is a density matrix and needs to be positive, definite, proper, trace preserving and all those properties. So now let's define E of A to be this thing here. So E of A is an operation where A is anything that you put inside E, and I have chosen this particular operation. So you see this particular operation has a very similar form to this thing. So when this is this particular operation, and this is a noisy operation actually, you will see, because when you put I by 2 you will get I by 2. So such kind of operations are called noisy operation or unital operations. And then you can check that because of the commutation relations of the Pauli matrices, the operation acting on each of the Pauli matrices will make it to go to 0. Now we will act this operation on a general state. So the moment you act it on a general state using this property of unital channel and the property that it annihilates the Paulis, you can show that whenever you put a rho to this channel, it will essentially get converted to a maximally mixed state. So this is a highly random quantum channel, and a maximally mixed state can hence be written in this form. So actually this form that you see here is nothing but a manifestation of a more general theorem called as Ullmann's theorem. So the Ullmann's theorem is important for characterizing randomness in terms of the permutation matrices, and we will see later on how this is a simple manifestation of Ullmann's theorem. So that's this part here. And now let's substitute I by 2, which is written in this form, in the form of rho into here. This will give us the final form of the density matrix that you see here. You can go through this calculation again, but that's what is important is to understand that the depolarizing channel introduces noise with a probability p and preserves the state with a probability 1 minus p. So that's all for this video.